What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with the market very briefly and also talk about Jerome Powell for today. Before I say anything, let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Deposit $100 and you guaranteed 5 free stocks with a $100 cash reward. Offer ends in 2 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So SPY is currently testing the 435 support right now. It's down about 0.24% in the pre-market, and the market is cooling off because Jerome Powell is about to start speaking. And we know the market does not always like it when he talks because sometimes he says hawkish things and the market tends to get lots of reactions. So we have to be very careful here, but always remember that if the market gaps down, there's also a chance it's going to try to fill the gap above later on during the day. But now let's talk about Powell and what's going on with the headlines. So right now we could see the market states, or at least a lot of these news sources are saying that the stock futures slip with chip curbs, and also Jerome Powell is in focus right now. So this is going to be very, very important. We are seeing some news out there that NVIDIA let a decline, at least so far, because there has been some reports about the Commerce Department is considering putting more restrictions on AI chip sales in China. That is part of the reason why we're seeing like NVIDIA decline a little bit in the pre-market, but it's also because the whole market is starting to cool off right now because we have Jerome Powell speaking at an event later on today. So it's going to be very important. Powell's going to be hosted by CNBC anchors, and he's going to be around many other economists and leaders. So when is Powell speaking? Just as a reminder, the guy is going to be speaking as soon as the market opens. So super, super soon. Powell has a speech. He's going to be at the Economic Forum at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you are ready for this. Okay. I can't predict exactly how this is going to go. It depends on what he says. I don't know if he's going to pump the markets or if he's going to cause the market to tank because of his hawkish demeanor. I don't really know. Okay. Nobody truly knows exactly what Powell's about to say. It really depends on what he wants to do. It really depends on the questions he's asked and also how he chooses to respond. He could choose to be more dovish. He could choose to be more hawkish. You have to be prepared and you have to be very careful. Let me also add that when it comes to Jerome Powell, recently he's been very hawkish. He's been saying things about how the Fed is going to likely raise more rates as the economy remains strong. And the latest data that came out yesterday suggested a strong economy is still on the table. So at least that's just Jerome Powell's interpretation of this. You are free to agree or disagree, but just know that his hawkish demeanor has slowed the market down last week, and there's a chance it could happen this week too. Now, let me also remind you that Powell's going to be speaking at 2:30 a.m. Eastern time for Thursday morning. So later on, he's going to be speaking again, and this may affect us for tomorrow as well. So you have to be ready for this. We have Powell coming out. Expect some volatility if he says some big things, and if he just remains, just the same and doesn't say much, the market could just drop around for some time too. So how do I see this basically playing out? I'm going to be watching support and resistance very carefully. Once again, I'm going to keep this very brief. If Powell speaks and the market cools off a bit, just expect us to be testing 435 as support. If that breaks, the next support is going to be 434.13, which is where our 50 EMA is on the 4-hour time frame. Below that, it's going to come all the way down to the 433s. If it breaks below that, 432 has some support, and after that, we could make our way even lower. But I don't really see us dropping that low when Powell speaks, unless he says something extreme, which he hasn't done so far. So I don't really see him saying anything that crazy to drop the market 2%. But I do believe he could cause the market to drop at least 1 or 2 points. So you got to be ready for that. Powell, he has historically been like this, so just be prepared for that. Let me also add that for Tesla, during the pre-market, Tesla's outperforming the markets. Tesla's actually continuing to hold above 250 because there are a lot of bullish news. I mean, there's a lot of news about their expectations on Chinese quarterly sales looking very strong. Also, there was good news that came out about how Tesla's running Google Ads. So once again, good stuff. Tesla's testing resistance at 252.5, almost exactly, and still outperforming the market with the potential bullish triangle. Now, Powell could slow this thing down and cause it to drop below 250. That's going to be the support we're watching right now. The 50 EMA is at 250.86. And if it breaks below that, watch 249.5, 247.5, and then the 245s. I don't see Tesla crashing that hard, though. It's still outperforming the market, looking very strong. If it breaks 252.5, watch this thing get to the mid 250s. And last but not least, when it comes to me going in specific details, I'm going to talk about the QQQ, then briefly about everything else. The triple Q is at 362. So this is the zone I was predicting the QQQ would get to, a test of the 50 EMA in the 362 area. Now we can see this thing get closer to 361.79. That's where the 50 EMA is on the 4-hour time frame. So watch that carefully. Break below that, then there's 361 flat. 360 is going to come next, and that's going to be a very important support. And then 357.5 is going to be next after that, the next major support. So we're going to be watching these levels very carefully. There's also some support at 359, but not as significant. So just watch these levels carefully. If it does end up, breaking down because of Powell, we could see this thing go all the way down to like 360 just for reference. But then here's the thing: when Powell is done speaking, the market might bounce. So when Powell is done talking, market could get a bounce. Maybe SPY like it dips a bit, then it bounces later on after Powell is done speaking. So watch resistance levels around 435 again. The 436 is like 438 and then 440. Same thing for Tesla. I mean, I don't know if it's going to drop that much because it's looking quite strong. And for the rest of these, AMD is down quite hard. It's actually making a new low. It broke below 107 temporarily. It is looking a little weak. If Powell causes this thing to drop, watch 105 and then potentially even lower levels. If it just holds 105 and tries to bounce, it's going to try to make its way up to about 110 again, which is where the 200 EMA is. NEO is outperforming the market after the big deal that was close, so it's pretty nice to see. We have the NASDAQ and SPX. We don't actually have data on them just yet, but futures were down, so just be ready for that. If the VIX bounces a little bit, that is a possibility that Powell could cause the market to drop, which causes the VIX to bounce a little bit, retest like the 14s. But then there's this unfilled gap down below. So if the VIX bounces a little bit, it might come right back down, meaning the market might continue to pump because SPY has that gap all the way up to 439. So yes, SPY could cool off now, but I think it's going to get a bounce after Powell is done with, either as soon as today or going into tomorrow when Powell is gone. The thing should start pumping. I just wanted to inform you guys about that. For Coinbase, this thing is currently testing 67. 66 to 67 is support. Break above that, you're going to be watching this thing hit 70, then 71.8, 75. Continues to break down, watch 66, 64, and then 62 as support. Aapl right now has resistance at 188. If it breaks down, watch 187.5. If it breaks below that, 186.5, 186, 185, all as supports. So watch these levels very carefully. And with that said, guys, I'm just going to cut it from here. Please have an absolutely great day trading. Watch support and resistance and just be prepared for the fact that when Powell speaks, okay, the market will likely slow down. Okay, there's a good chance that's going to happen. Am I promising it? I can't promise anything. I don't truly know. But when Powell is done, the market's going to likely rebound if it dropped when he was speaking. So when he's gone, that's when the market tends to improve and things are going to look pretty decent afterwards. Be careful with your trading, manage risks, and I'll see you guys very soon. Tesla and the market to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright. And peace out.